Welcome to Ask Fear and Greed, where we take your questions and do our best to answer them. I'm Michael Thompson, and good afternoon, Sean Aylmer.
Michael, I like the way you say do our best. That is that's very accurate. We do our best.
I'm not overcommitting here, Sean, because if I say that we are going to guaranteed, solid gold-plated, absolute guarantee that we will answer it, well, it's kind of setting us up to fail.
Yeah, and in economics particularly, some questions are unanswerable.
That's right. I'm setting us a low bar, and together,
Good.
Sean, we will step over it.
Excellent.
The question today that we are going to tackle comes from Nina. And if you happen to have a question, some burning question about economics or business or anything, send it on through LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or fearandgreed.com.au. Nina has done this, and she has asked the question, will the new income tax reductions affect inflation? Sean, over to you.
Absolutely. Totally. Remember, these tax cuts are worth a lot of money. They were first announced by then Treasurer Scott Morrison back in 2019. Jim Chalmers, the current Treasurer, changed things up this year. In the first year of operation, taxpayers will receive $23 billion. Over the next decade, tax collections from the government will be reduced by $330 billion. Therefore, on average, $33 billion is going back into the economy every year. So a person earning $50,000 will get a $929 annual tax credit. Someone who is earning $190,000 will end up with about $4,500 more annually. So undoubtedly, these are inflationary. The next part is where it gets really interesting. Does this mean that all these assumptions that the Reserve Bank's made, Treasury's made, all these market economists have made will change because of this? And the short answer is no, because they've taken this into account. So they're saying, we think inflation will keep falling and we know these tax cuts are coming. What's tricky in this, though, they don't really know what people are going to do with the extra money. So, Michael, let's say you earn $100,000. So you'll get an extra $41, $42 a week. Mm-hmm. What would you do with it?
Look, I would probably put an extra $40 into the mortgage because I know that I can also access that via redraw if I need to. So I'm probably one of those ones.
Yeah, so I've set up my account to start taking more out from July 1 so that it goes into my mortgage. Exactly the same. Surveys have suggested that up to 80% of people will do that, will actually save the money. And when you say save, that's a very generic term. So it could actually be putting into the bank. It could be putting into your mortgage. Save rather than spend it. So if that happens, that's a huge amount of people saving money. And so what you will find, if 80% actually saved it or put it into their mortgage, the impact on the economy would actually be less inflationary, ironically, than what the Reserve Bank and Treasury and that are forecasting. Now, of course, the flip side is if most people spend it, then it could be more inflationary. So the bottom line, Nina, is absolutely this is an inflationary policy decision. On average, each year over the next decade, putting $33 billion into the economy that wouldn't be there. That, of course, pushes prices higher. But all the forecasting has taken that into account. The smoky in all this is exactly what people do with their money. If you're really boring, like Michael and I, you save it all. Well, actually, inflation might not be as high as we thought. If you spend it all, or if everyone spends it all, maybe it will.
I reckon we just stepped over that low bar we set for ourselves there, Sean.
I hope so.
I reckon, I don't want to speak for Nina, but I reckon you answered that question very satisfactorily.
Thank you. That's good. That one I knew. I mean, next one, later in the week, who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what we get next time. Thank you very much, Nina, for your question. Remember, if you've got something you'd like to know, then send it through via LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or at Fear and Greed, and we'll do it all again later in the week. I'm Michael Thompson, and this was Ask Fear and Greed.